The liver is the largest internal organ in the body, and the liver is the only organ in the body that has the ability to regrow. And when you understand the liver, when you understand what it does, and it's the role that it plays, you'll understand why God made it so. You see, cancer cannot get a hold on the body if the liver's working in optimum performance. Urinary tract infections are quite easily fixed. You've got to look at what causes them, start to drink more water. But this is continuing. And so the brain says, the kidneys are having a problem. They're not able to filter the blood because they're so cold. Let's insulate the kidney. And what does the body insulate the kidneys with? Now remember, we don't have fur and we don't have feathers. We have fat. And so the fat cells are built up there to insulate the kidney. This is the belt. I think it's called muffin top. Do you find that today? Many young girls, they've got thin arms, thin legs, but they've got this weight around the torso area. And a lot of it has to do with the poor old kidneys are constantly cold.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Barbara O'Neill, and today we're focusing on the health of three vital organs: the liver, pancreas and kidneys. These organs work behind the scenes to keep our bodies functioning optimally, but as we age, they can become more vulnerable. Did you know that nearly 1 in 10 people will experience some form of liver disease in their lifetime, and kidney disease affects about 37 million Americans? In this video, I will reveal secrets to keep these organs functioning well. As a thank you for joining me today, we're giving away 100 free copies of my best-selling book to subscribers. So if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, like this video, and comment why you want to win.
Never in the history of mankind have human beings eaten so many carbohydrates. So we're going to do a carbohydrate assessment. And I want you to tell me what most Americans had for breakfast this morning.
Toast, eggs.
Yeah, toast. So here we've got bread. Cereal's a very popular one. One lady said egg. Sorry, no one cooks anymore. Is that right?
Donuts.
Donuts. Surely not. And we talked about the healthiest part of the donut, didn't we? Which is the hole in the middle. So we'll say for the donuts, the cakes, you call them biscuits. Do you know what we call biscuits? Cookies. So when we see a sign that says biscuits and gravy, we're thinking, oh, these Americans are strange people. They put gravy on their cookies. But I realise that I think your biscuit is like a scone, like a roll or something like that. So I'm just going to say cakes, etc. So this takes into consideration the donuts, the biscuits, the cakes, the pastries, the pies, all of that. And pizza. When I was a little girl, I didn't know what a pizza was. I don't think I knew what a pizza was till I was about 20. So I'm a baby of the 50s, 60s, so they weren't really around then. Same with pasta. I don't think there's a home today that doesn't have pasta. Would that be right? And rice is another carbohydrate. Potatoes. That's a high carbohydrate food. And last and certainly least in nutritive value is the pure crystallized acid that's extracted from the sugarcane plant. Now, would you agree with me, students, that Americans have become high carbohydrate consumers? Yes. Now, I say become because I don't think anyone chose to eat this way. It was just there, it's just easy. We're such a fast society today, and many people don't think about their lunchtime till they're hungry, or their evening meal till they're hungry. And there's no time to soak the legumes and cook the legumes. There's no time to steam the vegetables. They just want food now. So I think it's something that is just, you could say, evolved. And it's got to the point where these are very popular foods, and we are getting the ramifications of that, and people are starting to think, now what's happening here?
High carbohydrate foods can significantly affect liver health, especially when eaten in large amounts. Foods like refined grains, sugary snacks and sweetened drinks can lead to a build-up of fat in the liver. This accumulation can result in a condition known as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD, which has become increasingly prevalent. In fact, about 25% of adults in the United States are now affected by NAFLD. The liver's role in processing carbohydrates involves converting excess glucose into fat when the body doesn't need it for immediate energy. Over time, this fat can accumulate in the liver. Refined carbohydrates, like white bread, pastries, and foods high in added sugars, are the main offenders. Fructose, a type of sugar found in many sweetened drinks and snacks, is especially problematic. Unlike glucose, which provides energy for the body, fructose is mainly processed by the liver, where it can quickly transform into fat. This is why high sugar diets can contribute significantly to fat buildup in the liver. Additionally, eating too many refined carbohydrates can cause rapid spikes in blood sugar levels. This prompts the body to release a lot of insulin, a hormone that helps regulate blood sugar. Over time, consistently high levels of insulin can lead to insulin resistance, where the body's cells don't respond well to insulin. This condition encourages the liver to store even more fat, further harming liver health. Currently, over 70% of adults in the US are overweight or obese, largely due to high-carb diets, which puts many people at greater risk for liver problems.
Something else is happening. So all through the bloodstream, we've got little molecules of protein. When a person is on a high carbohydrate diet, releasing a lot of glucose into the glucose connects with the protein molecules, and these little combinations become sticky and they stick. And let's say we've got a narrow piece here and they come along and oops, they've caused a blockage. That is the number one cause of heart disease. That is the number one cause of a stroke, is this little blockage here from the movement of the combination of the glucose and the protein making it sticky molecules. On a low carbohydrate diet, you haven't got that process happening.
Moreover, diets high in processed and sugary foods are often missing the essential nutrients needed to keep our liver healthy. When the liver gets overloaded with fat, it has a hard time doing its important jobs like detoxifying harmful substances and managing our metabolism. This can eventually result in inflammation and scarring known as fibrosis. In more serious cases, it can lead to cirrhosis, a condition where the liver tissue suffers permanent damage. Number 2, pancreas.
So that is what's broken down in the stomach. Protein and protein alone. All your starch digestion is put on hold because we're now in an acid stomach. And then we move through and come to the first part of the small intestine, which is called the duodenum. And the duodenum has two main organs that are emptying into it. Notice we've got the liver here, the gallbladder. The gallbladder is a reservoir for bile, and that bile duct comes down, connects with the neck of the pancreas and empties into the duodenum. It's an alkaline environment in the duodenum. And the enzyme that is released from your gallbladder, so I'll just do GB for gallbladder, from the duodenum, is bile. And bile is an enzyme that breaks down long-chain fatty acids, so this is your unsaturated fats. So a lot of those fats are vegetable fats, found in your nuts and your seeds. From the duodenum, the pancreas also releases some enzymes in there. And the pancreas releases pancreatic lipase. And pancreatic lipase does the final breakdown of the unsaturated fats. They're the long-chain fatty acids. So bile starts it, pancreatic lipase finalizes it. The pancreas also releases pancreatic amylase. And remember, ptyalin is a salivary amylase, so the amylase salivary salivary amylase tylase starts the digestion, put on hold in the stomach, comes to the duodenum, and pancreatic amylase finalises the starch digestion. What's also released in the pancreas is trypsin. And trypsin is the enzyme that finalises protein digestion. So protein digestion is begun in the stomach and finalised in the duodenum under trypsin and chymotrypsin. So these are two enzymes that break down protein. I've got some good news. It's going to get easier now. They're all the big words. From this, students, what's the main organ of digestion? It's the pancreas.
The pancreas is pretty remarkable when you think about it. It does much more than most people realise, especially regarding digestion. Along with the enzymes I mentioned earlier, like lipase, amylase, trypsin and chymotrypsin, it plays a crucial role in regulating your blood sugar levels. Essentially, the pancreas has two main jobs: aiding digestion, known as its exocrine function, and managing blood sugar, its endocrine function. When it comes to digestion, the pancreas produces enzymes that are released into your small intestine, particularly the duodenum. These enzymes break down fats, carbohydrates, and proteins into smaller components so your body can absorb and use them. Without the pancreas doing its job, we wouldn't be able to get the nutrients we need effectively. Another interesting aspect of the pancreas is its production of bicarbonate. This substance helps neutralize the acid that comes from your stomach. When partially digested food, known as chyme, moves from your stomach into the small intestine, the pancreas releases bicarbonate to reduce its acidity. This process is vital because it protects the lining of your intestine from the acid and creates an optimal environment for the enzymes to function properly. On the blood sugar side, the pancreas produces hormones such as insulin and glucagon. Insulin helps lower blood sugar levels by allowing glucose to enter your cells, where it can be used for energy. In contrast, glucagon raises blood sugar levels when they drop too low by signalling your liver to release stored glucose. This balancing act is essential for maintaining stable energy levels throughout the day. Let's explore how this mechanism works.
And here we've got our pancreas, and our pancreas, it releases two hormones. One is insulin, and insulin's the hormone designed to get the blood glucose down again when it goes high. And if it goes down, if the blood glucose goes too low, then glucagon is released. And glucagon is the hormone that's released if blood glucose goes too low to get it up again. Now, what's happening with the pancreas is when the pure crystallized acid extracted from the sugarcane plant goes in, blood glucose levels rise dramatically. Not sugarcane, because in the sugarcane, the glucose is all bound up in fibre and it slowly releases the glucose. But that pure crystallized acid that's been extracted from the sugarcane plant, when it goes into the body, blood glucose levels go boom. Very quickly the brain says, overload, quick. Pancreas, release the insulin. You see, high glucose demands high insulin. And so now the insulin's released and blood glucose levels start to drop, because now the insulin causes the glucose to go into the cell or to be stored as glycogen or fat. But because there was so much glucose, huge amounts of insulin are released. So where are blood glucose levels going now? Too low. That's called hypoglycemia, too low. So now the brain goes, oh no, we're too low. Stop the insulin, release the glucagon. But by the way, what happens down there? What does the person do? I need a hit of sugar. I'm too low. Will the sugar get it up? Oh, absolutely. Boom! Oh no, we're too high. Stop the glucagon, release the insulin. Oh no, can you see what's happening? Something else is happening. The cell starts to say, I'm sick of the sight of your insulin. And insulin resistance steps up. I'm sick of the sight of you. So the cell starts to resist insulin. And the blood glucose levels stay high because it's resisting getting in. And so the brain says, too much glucose, more insulin, more insulin. Can you see what's happening here? The body says, what am I going to do with this? Get it out through the urine. Do you know what diabetes mellitus means? Sweet urine. Because there's nowhere else for it to go. And then eventually the pancreas just says, I'm sick of this. I'm done. And it just stops releasing the insulin.
To break the cycle and keep your pancreas healthy, it's important to make some dietary and lifestyle changes that stabilise your blood sugar levels. The first step is to reduce your intake of refined sugars and processed foods. These foods are high in simple sugars, which can lead to blood sugar spikes and force your pancreas to produce too much insulin. Instead, focus on whole foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. These options are rich in fibre, which helps slow the release of sugar into your bloodstream and prevents those sudden spikes. Aim to have balanced meals that include protein, healthy fats, and fibre. These nutrients help maintain steady blood sugar levels by slowing down sugar absorption. For instance, pairing fruit with a handful of nuts can help balance your blood sugar much better than eating fruit on its own. Also, try to avoid sugary snacks when your stomach is empty, as they can quickly raise your blood sugar without anything else to moderate it. Staying active is another key aspect of keeping your pancreas healthy. Exercise increases your cell's sensitivity to insulin, so your pancreas doesn't have to work as hard. You don't need to engage in intense workouts. Even a simple walk after meals can significantly help in managing blood sugar levels. It's also important to eliminate sugary drinks like sodas and fruit juices. These beverages are loaded with sugar that quickly enters your bloodstream, causing significant spikes. Opt for water, herbal teas, or other unsweetened beverages instead. Number 3, kidneys.
The kidneys filter the blood. And they do it in quite a fascinating way. Let me illustrate. Our kidneys are made up of lots of little filtering units called nephrons. And our kidney is as big as our fist. So my 6'6" brother-in-law has a bigger fist than mine, and my little granddaughter, Saffron Pearl, who is 3, she has a smaller fist than me. How important to teach children about the house they live in, which is this body. Surely the most neglected form of education. So our kidney is as big as our fist. It actually sits little below our ribs, and each kidney has 1 million filtering units. Let me draw one of the filtering units. That's the filtering unit, and these are the tubules that the filtrate travels along before it gets down to the bladder and then, of course, is urinated out. So the blood goes in, it weaves around the filtering units, and then it weaves around the tubules. In a 24-hour period, 1,800 litres of blood is filtered. We don't have that much blood. No, we don't. But every 2 minutes, 1.2 litres goes through the little filtering unit. And out of that filtering unit, 180 litres of filtrate is filtered out. But we don't urinate out 180 litres. We only urinate out approximately 1.5 litres in a 24-hour period. So what happens to the other 160 litres? They're reabsorbed here. So there's a reabsorption area. And later in the week, I'll show you that in that reabsorption area, our blood pressure is balanced or monitored. salt and water balances in the body is monitored, and also pH is monitored. So you're understanding this gives you an idea of what the kidneys need. The kidneys need water. Because when you drink adequate water, it keeps your blood nice and thin, and it's a lot easier for that little filtering unit to filter your blood when the blood's nice and thin. So we need to be drinking at least 2 to 2.5 litres of water every day. The second one is warm. The kidneys need to be warm. Let me show you. Here is the kidney. And these little filtering units are all on the edge. And these tubules here basically weave down like this. And then into the ureter, which is into the bladder, and there's the ureter from the other kidney, and then urinated out. Considering this, you can imagine if this back area of the human body gets cold, then not a lot of blood will go into that area. You see, we're warm-blooded creatures, and where there's no blood, there's no warmth. And if someone has cold hands and you look at them, their hands will be quite white. But if they clap their hands and rub their hands together, the hands become pink, and now they're warm. Do you know why they're warm? Because they've got blood in them. So it is the blood that causes the warmth. So let's say, and it has been a common fashion over many years, to have the midriff area bare. And that's all right on a day like today. And it's all right in the middle of summer in Cairns. But when I lived in Melbourne a few years ago, in the winter you would see young girls with bare midriffs. What happens is the blood's not getting in there because it's so cold. And so what's happening is the blood's not getting filtered. And so waste starts to build up in the blood, and who's going to clean up the waste? Your own microorganisms evolve into the cleanup team. And then the girl goes to the doctor because she's discovered she's got a urinary tract infection. Hopefully that doctor says to her, how much water are you drinking? You've got to keep those kidney warms. Are you exercising? Have you stopped the coffee? Have you stopped the Coca-Cola? But I've got a friend, she's a doctor, and if she says that, you know what the girl will do? She'll get up, leave her surgery and find someone who'll just give her a course of antibiotics. No, she's got to keep those antibiotics when she really needs them.
It's not just about keeping your kidneys warm and hydrated. A balanced diet plays a key role in maintaining kidney health. Your kidneys filter waste from your blood, regulate electrolytes, control blood pressure, and produce hormones that support bone health and red blood cell production. To help them do their job well, it's crucial to eat a diet filled with fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins. Eating too much sodium, often found in processed foods, can lead to high blood pressure. Over time, this puts extra stress on your kidneys, which can cause damage or worsen any existing issues. Likewise, a diet high in sugar and unhealthy fats can lead to obesity and diabetes, both significant risk factors for kidney disease. Another important point is to be cautious with over-the-counter pain relievers like non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs. Using them frequently or in large amounts can harm your kidneys. If you have underlying health issues such as diabetes, high blood pressure, or a family history of kidney problems, it's essential to have regular checkups with your healthcare provider to keep an eye on your kidney function.
Let's go to the smallest unit in the kidney, which is a little nephron. It's a little filtering unit. It's called the Bowman's capsule, and out of the Bowman's capsule the filtrate comes out, and then the filtrate weaves around these tubules and is eliminated via the bladder. So what happens with these little filtering units is the blood comes in, weaves around the filtering units, and then the blood weaves around the tubules. So let me show you where in the kidneys are these little filtering units. So the medulla is the middle part, the cortex is the outside, and all the little filtering units basically sit on the outside, and then the tubules weave down like this, then into the ureter, into the bladder, and out via the urethra comes the urine. So why am I talking about the kidneys with pH? Let's say the pH of the blood is getting too acid. Well, it's in this area of the blood going through the tubules that the pH is tested. You see, we only filter out 1.5 litres of urine a day, but out of these filtering units, 1,800 litres is filtered out. So where does that go? There's a reabsorption here. And it's in the reabsorption area that pH is being monitored. So let's say the pH of the blood is getting too acid, and we'll look at why that is in a moment. Then extra acid is dropped into the tubules to be urinated out. But let's say the pH of the blood is going too alkaline. Well, it is here that extra acid is pulled back out of the tubules and into the blood. So that is how the kidneys are constantly monitoring and balancing, if necessary, the pH of the blood. Let me give you a story to illustrate. We had a lady, she was coming to do our programs a few years ago now. She rang up Saturday night and she said, "I'm very worried about coming to your retreat." I said, "Why is that?" She said, "Well, I'm about to go on dialysis. I'm 57. My legs are swollen, and I'm worried if when I come to your retreat and go through the detox, I'll get worse. Do you have a doctor there?" I said, "We don't, but we will keep a close eye on you. We can adjust as we go, and there is a hospital an hour away if you need that." And if someone would say to my husband, "Do you have a doctor there at your retreat?" you know what his answer is? "No, and we don't want one." You see, we're not doctors. We're just lifestyle coaches, teaching people how to be their own doctors. Yes, go to your doctor. Yes, go to your specialist and see what he says. And what can you do with his advice? You can take it or leave it. That's why God's given us this sound mind to consider these things. I said, we'll closely monitor you. The lady who rang me Saturday night, she said, "Oh, all right. Never had anyone come reluctantly to our health retreat before." I found out why later. Her mother and her sister had paid for her and were pushing her to go. So she came. Early that morning, I was praying. I said, "Father in heaven, what do I do with this lady? She's about to go on dialysis." And then God put into my mind a few things. Remember that early morning? My celery was going to seed. Did you know that celery is an excellent kidney herb? My parsley was going to seed. Did you know that parsley is an excellent kidney herb? Couch grass is all through my yard and trying to get into my garden. I'm always pulling it out. Another kidney herb. So I gathered all of this, and what I did was I made her up a litre or a quart of tea every day with the celery seed. I just put the tops in, and I put some ginger in there to make it taste a little bit better so it didn't taste like grass. As I'm consulting with this lady, I discovered that she only drinks 2, maybe 3 glasses of water a day. She would say, "Look at my legs. There's too much water in my body now." Can you see that reasoning? It's because she's dehydrated that the body is actually unable to handle that water. So what happens in this reabsorption here is not only pH is balanced, but so is sodium and water levels in the body. So when that goes down, can you see why the legs swell? Her blood pressure was high. Blood pressure is also monitored here. She was having 3 cups of coffee a day. She's a nurse, and nurses drink a lot of coffee as a rule. Coffee dehydrates you even more. I discovered she had a gluten intolerance. And because she was a nurse eating a lot of fast food, with lots of cookies and sandwiches on the run, she also had a hormonal imbalance. She said to me, "I will not be able to walk with the guests in the morning." I said, "That's right. not with those legs. But what I'd like you to do is I'd like to get on the little rebounder for 1 minute every hour, just doing this, just this. That's called the health bounce. Anyone can do that. And that will stimulate the lymphatic system to start dispersing the fluid in the legs. I said, I want you to drink 1 litre of water a day and 1 litre of this tea. And that was far more than she was usually drinking. But I said, you are never to drink a whole glass at once. You have to drink it little by little by little by little. And the kidneys can cope a lot better with that. So Monday morning, she did not walk with the guests. Tuesday morning, she walked with the guests. Her legs had gone down by half. She was so excited. She hadn't seen them like that for weeks. She was a very happy lady when she went home. We wrote a program for her to continue. She emailed me 3 months later. She said, I don't have to go on dialysis. Isn't that incredible? I was talking to a nurse. She said, I've never heard such a thing. Who healed her? The body. Nature alone is the effective healer. And how much better can it perform its task when given the right conditions? She said, I've had a liver function test, and my liver function, the test is the best it's been for years. She said, my inflammatory markers have come back to normal. She said, I feel better than I have felt for 10 years. I'm going back to full-time work. I've lost 10 kilos. That would be 20 pounds in weight. This is in 3 months.
This experience really highlighted how making simple lifestyle changes and using natural remedies can make a big difference. The lady's initial concerns were completely valid, but her progress demonstrated just how effective these adjustments can be. By focusing on staying properly hydrated, using herbs like celery and parsley, and adding gentle exercises like rebounding, we were able to tackle the root causes of her leg swelling and overall discomfort. Her success became an inspiring example for others at our retreats. It reinforced the idea that while traditional medical advice is important, integrating lifestyle changes can greatly improve health. We always emphasise the value of collaborating with healthcare professionals, but we also encourage people to explore complementary methods that work for them. Thank you for joining me today as we explored the health of the liver, pancreas and kidneys. I hope you found this information helpful and empowering. Remember, taking small proactive steps in your daily life can make a big difference in supporting these vital organs. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and share it with anyone who might benefit from it. And as always, take care of yourselves and I'll see you next time.